Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast. Join your host, Nicole Cox, as she dives into the real stories, tips, secrets, and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside the trade world. Nick is here to help you break free from the grind, reduce money stress, and build a trade business that truly works for you. So grab a brew, put your phone on silent, and get ready to be inspired.
Okay, listeners, I am joined today by Adam Wright, who is the National Marketing and Product Manager for Snap-on Tools, and Mr. Phil Reed from Jim Reed Racing. Hello, gents. How are you both today?
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Good. We're here to talk today a little bit about Snap-on Tools Go Pink Drive. But before we do, Adam, can you tell us a little bit about you? Our listeners really connect with the person behind the story. So let's start with you, Adam.
Sure. So I work for Snap-on Tools, which is a global brand here in Sydney, Australia. We've been operating as a global organisation. Well, the company's 105 years old this year, so we've been around a little while. I've been with Snap-on for 7 years, got an automotive background, came from the motorcycle industry, automotive, car industry. I've done it all over the years, and great to work with such a great brand such as Snap-on, where we produce a premium quality product for professional tool users out predominantly in the automotive sector, aviation, all of the above. If it's got an engine and wheels, then we're there.
I love that. It's a great tagline. How about you, Phil? I feel like I could read your bio for you, but it's going to sound much better coming from you rather than a fan tragic. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Phil.
Racing car driver, but more of a tradie, always been a tradie. Basically some people consider it a form of child abuse, but my dad raced for a very long time. So I sort of, when he decided to give it up, my brother was asked at the time, kind of like the royal family, he abdicated the throne. So I took over from dad. I started my own plumbing business actually to get more time off to go racing, and it sort of bit me in the ass a little bit after about 4 or 5 years because I got that busy at work. It was hard to go racing. So it's that work life and, racing balance. We don't do it professionally, but I've been driving now for just on 20 years. I think 2005 I took over from dad. I've won a few championships. We've had Snap-on with us since dad was driving. So obviously that's a great connection there. I own my own plumbing company. I have a number of employees, vans on the road. So dealing with that. And to continue the child abuse, my son works for me and he runs a lot of jobs. And we've since bought a smaller drag for him to drive in preparation for you. You never know, one day I might get a bit old and Snap-on might still want to start be backing us to keep racing. And Adam might have to tap me on the shoulder and say, listen, we need a new image, younger version. And I might have to, you never know. But that's my backstory. I've had AFT plumbing since 1992.
I did not know that about you, Phil. You've landed me a surprise immediately as we start. I love it. Thank you. Phil, tell us, it really is a bit of a family business, motorsport. As I said, I'm only relatively new to, your version of the sport. Had plenty of fun drag racing back in the day. Tell us about, so I imagine growing up, watching your dad and what he did, you were given plenty of opportunities for you to race in your own way in the early days. Has it been the same for your children?
Yes and no. Top Fuel's that involved. It's like now, we're racing Kurt's car this weekend, but we only race in Sydney. Everyone's like, oh, why don't you race the same race with? We physically cannot do it. One, because he works on my car. So drag racing to me is the true family sport. Like, okay, in V8 you got Dick Johnson, Stephen Johnson, but it's not the same. Like, particular in my car, my brother tunes the car. My dad's the team principal. My nephew does the clutch. My son does the superchargers. My wife does all the PR. My sister and other relatives do all the corporate areas. So, it's a true family sport. It's great because you get to do something you love with your family.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to share that passion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Adam, can you share what inspired Snap-on to partner with the McGrath Foundation through the initiative that we're talking about today?
Sure. Look at McGrath Foundation they do wonderful work in providing care nurses across all cancers now. Originally it was breast cancer, but the government stepped in and said, hey, you do such a fantastic job. We want to expand what you do across all cancers. So the initiative originally started in the US a few years back, which is the Socket to Breast Cancer initiative for us, and supports breast cancer in the United States as well. So we, thought that McGrath do, like I said, such wonderful work. There's a few cricket fans here as well, and the time with Glenn McGrath. So we approached the McGrath Foundation about coming on board and helping raise much needed funds for everything that they do, and providing care nurses for patients or for people that are affected by cancers across the country. So, look, we love working with the McGrath Foundation. We have a goal of raising $250,000 this year. We nearly did it last year, but I'm proud to say that this year we're definitely going to get across the line. So far, we've raised $135,000 online, and I got some news that we're about to donate close to $200,000 through our franchisee and our own corporate initiative here internally. So we'll be donating that. So that'll mean we'll hit our $250,000 target, which will be actually $500,000 across 2 years, which is sensational for helping people that are affected by cancer.
It's a real feel-good moment when you make those targets, that's for sure. Adam, how did the idea then of working with the McGrath Foundation tie into motorsport?
Well, I mean, McGrath, a very well-known brand. For us, it was about reaching out to our audience, who are predominantly, they're rev heads. They love Phil and Jim Reed Racing and everything that they do all day, every day. In fact, our market research showed that drag racing was at the top of the pile when it came to our audience and what they were interested in, their core hobbies and interests, etc. Four-wheel driving and the supercar teams as well. But drag racing, really ties in with what we do every day with our techs in workshops and so forth. They love Top Fuel Racing, and Phil and Bruce, who runs the team. They're just fantastic guys to work with, and they give it 100%, and they've been fully behind helping us support the McGrath Foundation, which is great.
It's wonderful. Can you walk us through how the fundraising actually works?
Sure. Well, there's a number of areas in which we raise the funds, mostly through our franchised network. So we have our mobile Snap-on stores out on the road all day, every day across the country. So what happens is we create some merchandise, caps with the logo on it, with the Socket to Breast Cancer logo, T-shirts, stubby coolers, key rings. And what they do is when the customers, we've also the US produce pink colored tools, hammers, screwdrivers, sets, a number of variety of different tools that helps build awareness for what we're trying to do. Believe it or not, they are in so much demand. We sell out of these tools every year. The techs just love them. And so what happens is the franchisees will go out to their customers, the techs in dealerships across the country, workshops, etc., and say, hey, I've got this pink screwdriver set, blah, blah, blah. If you buy this today, because they generally know what their customers need, I'll throw in a cap, a T-shirt, stubby cool, or whatever. So, then the customer feels good about it. And, there's so many people affected by cancers across the country. So then we've got some signage in the vans and QR codes. So then the customer goes on and makes a donation as well. And then we take a percentage of every pink tool that's sold, both on behalf of the franchisees and us at a corporate level. A percentage of that then gets donated to the McGrath Foundation. So on top of that, we've got everything that Phil's done with Jim Reed Racing out there, helping drive the message out to the market, and also their audience are also making donations to the McGrath Foundation. So across the spectrum, that's how we get to the number that we donate to the McGrath Foundation. So it's just a wonderful thing.
It's incredible. And then the money, Adam, then goes towards the care nurses. Is that correct?
That's correct. So the McGrath Foundation, it costs them about nearly $250,000 to bring on a care nurse and what they have to do day in, day out to support one nurse per year. So if we raise in excess of $250,000 this year, which we'll do, which we've done, then that goes to helping one care nurse out in the market there to help a number of different people who are affected by breast cancer.
It's a pretty special feeling.
It's wonderful.
So, Adam, on a personal level, does this have any significance for you, this particular initiative that you have?
I think everyone's at some point has, a relative. I have an auntie, and many of us have someone who's been touched by some form of cancer out there in the big world. So that's why it's close to everyone's heart, and everyone's connected in some way, and the generosity of our franchisees, our customers in the market is just unbelievable, and we're very proud to be a part of it.
Certainly is a fantastic way to collaborate, that's for sure.
Certainly is.
Phil, as I was sharing with you off air, I'm relatively new to the sport. Well, I say that broadly, not obviously. I've seen a lot of racing on television, but my first in the flesh experience was about 4 years ago now at a meet. But there may be some listeners that don't understand what Top Fuel is. Could you describe what makes it unique?
Well, what makes it unique is there's nothing else like it on the planet, as you know. TV doesn't do it justice. It's like comparing, like, NRL is great to watch on TV. AFL isn't. AFL is better at the ground. NRL.
Football.
As a comparison for the speeds out there.
Yeah.
I'm not a great big fan of AFL. Like, I love AFL, but I'm more of an NRL guy. But until you go to a game, you don't fully appreciate, because you can see the whole field and how things are transforming.
Yeah.
So with Top Fuel, it's equivalent to an earthquake when you stand on the start line. So you stand between two Top Fuel cars. We call them nitro virgins, people that have never done it before. It's an eye opener. It's people they come out and say, oh, my Porsche goes 0 to 160 in 7-8 seconds. Well, mate, I'm doing 160 in 60 feet.
Yeah.
Like, by 0.883 of a second, I'm at 160 kilometers an hour. So it's for the uninitiated. All I can recommend is go out and have a look. We're racing in Sydney in November. But yeah, it's explosive. It's just raw. Even sitting in the grandstands, people sit in the grandstands. There's actually, if you go on YouTube, there's a video of first timers, mainly kids. Somebody holding the camera on when the cars leave the start line. They're not prepared for it. So, but yeah, and to drive, I'm fortunate enough to drive one of the many few. But yeah, if ever you get a chance to drive one, I highly recommend it.
Oh, anytime, Phil, anytime. There's one of my favorite things to do actually is to watch the newbies come along. I remember my first experience, I was standing behind the start line there at Willowbank, and I got suckered in by the family I was there with. They've kind of positioned me. I had no idea what was about to go on. And you never get that first experience back. You truly don't. It's akin to what I imagine they must be talking about when they're talking about using heroin or something. It's just so immediately addictive.
Well, it's funny you mentioned heroin. I used to reference heroin. I watched a documentary on a heroin addict.
Yep.
And when they have their first hit, it's sheer ecstasy.
Yes.
Then every hit after that, she compared that was trying to get back to that first hit.
100%.
Now, I'm not allowed to talk about that anymore because I was advised by a PR person that it's not good to compare sport to heroin addicts. But getting, like, your comment is like that, it's that first hit, and then you're hooked.
Oh, it's perfectly accurate. There's no way you can describe the physical feeling you get outside of the car. Like, I'm not even in the car and I have that addiction and that I don't know, it's such a rawness. It's like nothing I've ever experienced. It's impossible to explain that to someone. You have to be there to understand it.
Correct. And same as in the car. That's when I first started. I went to America to do a driving school over there. And I had a lot of friends in America, and I asked them, what's it like? They said, we can't explain it. You can't explain it. You can't explain it. And you can't. Because
No.
when you step on the throttle, it's, 5 Gs pushing you back in the seat. Your head's trying to roll back in your helmet because you're on a chin strap. And it's just accelerating and trying to push you out through the back of the roll cage.
There's nothing.
Yeah. And then when you get to 300 feet or a third of the way down the track, it takes off again because we have the clutch set up where to get it to leave the start line without turning the wheels, we have it set up soft.
Yep.
So to speak.
Yeah.
At 300 feet, you apply the clutch in, it takes off again. So just after you settle down, after the first 1.9 seconds, then it starts to pull again. So it's quite fun. I highly recommend it to everybody.
I bet you do. It's an awful lot of thinking in such a small period of time. I find it really hard to comprehend what I'm even viewing from the side of the track. It must take a lot of practice, training, education for you to be able to compute so much information going on at once.
Correct. The other comment was made to me, you either have it or you don't. Now, when you're in the car, it's like the last meeting in Adelaide, where obviously we're, gladly representing the Soccer to Breast Cancer. We had a fire. At about 1 second, I thought there's something wrong with this, but then it fixed itself. So it dropped one of the cylinders stopped working.
Mm-hmm.
Then it took off, and I thought, so in this short amount of time, I thought, no, that's just the clutch kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
It was set up super soft because it was hot. So it took off again, but then it dropped again, then it blew up. And right before, it actually blew up when I took my foot off. I thought, nah, this isn't right. And I took my foot off at about 3.2 seconds. So in that 3.2 seconds, I thought, this thing doesn't feel right. Now it's good. I should take my foot off, took off, bang. Then we had
driving.
which wasn't good for us, but it was actually good for Soccer to Breast Cancer because people were coming up buying burn pits off our car. We had a bidding war on one of the rear slicks. It started out at $50, I think. I think it was Josh, the Snap-on dealer down there, Adam.
Yep.
He ended up taking $250 for one of the slicks, and I think $100 for the other slick because it burnt through the sidewalls on it.
Wow.
Every time, and people come, what else you got to sell? So Josh was his FPOS machine was working every time.
It's got to be some advantage, that's for sure.
Yes. So, but to drive one, it's a unique experience. It's something that is super hard to describe. But yeah, on a good run, somebody said to me one day, is it better than sex? I said, no. I said, if it's better than sex, you're not having sex right. I said, but it's up there in clothes. So
Very good.
nah, it's good.
All right. One of my favorite things to do, another thing I got suckered into doing the very first time I saw you guys was to go, they call it a nitro dive. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but going and watching the team strip down, put the motor back together, put it back in the car, and then the first startup, still my favorite thing to do. I'd really love to understand, clearly there's an awful lot of work in a small period of time to take that motor out of the car, rebuild it, put it back in, fix any issues that you might have had, tune it up, get it ready to go. And I find that's quite actually similar to a trade business and the way we need to run our trade businesses. We need our team to work in together. Everybody needs to know their job, their responsibility, for it to be quite seamless, as you would understand owning a trade business yourself. Can you share how many people it takes for you to get that car ready and back out on the track at a race meet?
The car itself, probably 8 guys working on it. Then you got my brother and his assistant up in the lounge, Corey, looking at the data.
Yep.
What you got to remember with the car is it's repetition. And at the track we fit parts. We look at the parts, especially the bearings to see if they're squashed, to see if we need to change the tune-up. But everything's prepared in the shop. So we'll take, actually, if we're doing 6 runs, we'll take six sets of pistons and chrome rods.
Yep.
We'll take 6 sets of heads. So we don't really service anything at the track because we're on such a tight time frame. So they are fitting parts. But yeah, as you said, we get a lot of corporate guests, roughly 20 to 30 a day, come and sit right beside the car. They love it. They get to see the car come apart, 8 new pistons and rods go in, new heads go on, new clutch goes in, blower gets serviced. That's one of the only things we don't tend to change because we like it consistent. But yeah, and the advantage we have over the other sports is the fact that our corporates come down, sit right there, again, including people like yourself and we have other guests that will get invited in, members of the public, and they get to see the car come apart, get put back together and go back out and perform again. So, but yeah, it's mainly, there's probably, so we have one guy on the bottom end, two on the clutch, two on the cylinder heads, another one on top, and then another guy doing blower. And then we got two guys mixing fuel and doing the wash up and roustabout stuff. So roughly 10 guys on the car at a time. But in relation to my job as well, like in the plumbing, we do a lot of larger scale jobs, about 50%. So I call it, believe it or not, I call it clutch starting the job. So if we do a larger job for, say, a new site, I'll be there the first 3 days, just making sure everything's running smoothly, right? You know your job. So all my crews have got their set jobs. Then I can start only coming in like 2 hours or the first day, and then, in the morning, then I can get back to doing what I do in the office. So yeah, it is very similar. And the other thing you'll note is we don't have a lot of mechanics on our car. We have, I think, 2 diesel mechanics. We have a firefighter. My son's a plumber. My brother's a young bloke. He builds swimming pools. We've got carpenters. I got a builder. So, but they all, they all know their job. When we come back, everybody it's just like a routine, like a tradie would. So
Yeah. It's like watching a dance. I really look at it and I think, wow, this is like a ballet or something where everybody knows exactly what they've got to do. You rarely see them bump into one another. It's really quite fascinating to watch because they're literally climbing over the top of each other. And this is for the benefit of the listeners that might not have had the opportunity to see it. It's just seamless the way it all kind of pulls together, and it seems that there's very little tension or very little nonsense that can often go on when we're working with a team. Phil, when you think about your responsibility, what is it that you need to do to keep that team working seamlessly on track days?
That's providing the right tools, like, no pun intended, but we have the best tools in the business and with the SAP on. And if you give the guy the right tools, and I'm a bit this way at work as well, and I'll get in trouble from the office. Why'd you buy all these tools for? Well, if you give them the right tools, I'll get it done faster. We'll make more profit.
Yeah.
You might spend $400 or $500 on a tool, but you're going to make $1,500 by doing the job twice as fast.
That's right.
So, but it's, we just, and again, it's repetition. They know their job. We give them the right equipment to do the job, and the job will get done. And all the preparation. It's like, actually, I do a lot of these pit talks for all the corporates, and I always refer to it as like baking a cake. If you get all the ingredients right, the cake will taste wonderful. The car will run great. You miss one little bit of ingredient, you'll think, why does this taste off? So if one of the guys misses something, which very rarely do they do, then the car won't do what we want it to do. So it's all about preparation and getting everything right. And and the tools obviously allow us to do that.
Yeah. Adam, the continued collaboration between the team and yourself, what kind of things are Snap-on looking broadly for that relationship to continue?
Well, for us, we're, very much automotive focused. So we understand the needs of, Phil's team and what they require. So we're well positioned to supply, premium quality products for, premium quality race car. So it's about efficiency for these guys. It's about making sure they've got the right tool, to do the right job on time every time, and that the tools don't fail. So that's really the essence of it, to ensure that they've got quality tools. We love to be aligned with a quality team like Phil and everything that they do. So they're race winners. They're very dedicated to racing and what they do. So we love being a part of it. At the end of the day, it's just fantastic.
That's wonderful. Something we talk a lot with our trade business owners about is fear. And imagine there must be a lot of times, Phil, when you have to push through some fear. How is that? Is there sort of a method or a system that you follow to ensure that you're able, even on those times when I can imagine it, when you're having a fire, that's got to be a pretty terrifying situation. How do you just push through that?
I'm fortunate enough I don't get flustered that often. I'll get angry before I get flustered.
Yep.
And I have been doing this long enough time. Like I remember, and I always say to my employees and my crew, if you make a mistake, own up to it. I'll be less annoyed with you unless I find out later.
Yeah.
One of my first ever race wins, I was too busy celebrating, forgot to pull the parachutes, ended up in the sand trap. So I don't get fear as much anymore. Like after the fire in Adelaide, it was a pretty big fire. Um, the ambo, he goes, "You're all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And everybody kept asking me, "All right, like, what's going on?" They're like, "Watch the vision." I'm like, "Okay, watch the vision like that." I was fine. I don't really get that flustered.
Yeah.
But referring back to like the early days, I remember when I first started my business, I had that much, not say fear, or anxiety, but of, like, I remember walking into a factory one time and the guy goes, "Mate, we need these 3 machines all hooked up, blah, 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 blah. You've done this before, you're okay with that?" And I went, "Yeah." And I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, where the hell do I start? As my father-in-law always said, bite off as much as you can and just chew harder. So, but yeah, it's, yeah. So fear as far as the racing, I think that because I've been doing it so long, has sort of dropped out. But yeah, even, we set the national record in the car with fishtailing all over the racetrack. And everyone was like, "Didn't that bother you?" I'm like, "Man, I was having the time of my life." I'm like, I'm bright in this thing. So, but yeah, it's, fear really doesn't. And if you're fearful of a top fuel car, you should not be in it. There was a driver years ago that used to take his helmet off 3 times before every run and throw up.
Oh, wow.
This is before he used to race against my dad.
Yep.
And I'm looking over there thinking, man, you should not be in that car.
No.
So, but on the track, he was fine.
Yeah, that's
Like,
amazing.
car started up, he was fine. Well, I assume he was fine. He didn't throw up after the run. So, yeah.
Okay, so when you're moving at like 500 kilometers per hour, which blows my mind, mistakes can, of course, be extremely costly. How do you and the team prepare for and then manage those mistakes when things go wrong?
Put your hand in your pocket and it's very, like, the Adelaide fire was very, very expensive. We're still recovering from that. We will be for some time to come, but, yeah, you just got to move on. We have enough. Like, we had the car rebuilt. Unfortunately, we couldn't get back to the racing until we could have run the last run, but due to circumstances beyond our control, the fire got way out of hand and it burnt the seat out of the car. So even if the car was ready to run, we just didn't have a seat to put in it. But yeah, you just sort of regroup, move on, and life throws you challenges. The same as work. Sometimes you'll make money on a job, sometimes you'll break even, sometimes you might lose money, but you just keep going, and the next job will come up, and you might make some money. It's the same in racing. I mean, we went probably 2 years and didn't hurt a part. Then we had a year of just little stuff just going wrong and parts attrition and things like that. But and fortunately for us, Hydrolink and obviously Snap-on and all our great backers provide us with the resources to bounce back and do what we've got to do, even though it is, it's costly to us.
Yeah.
So,
Phil, the trades tend to be quite insular. We don't talk a lot about our businesses to our mates that might be in the trades. Is it a bit the same with racing? It's not been my experience, but I wonder if it really is at the top.
yeah, tune-up wise and what each individual team is doing. If you ask, they'll give you little bits. But the problem we have in top fuel racing is there's so many different combinations. Again, getting back to the baking the cake deal. Your grandmother might make a fruit cake with this ingredient. My grandmother might have made it with this ingredient. You try and change that, you miss that one little ingredient. So each crew, each team, their tune-ups vary. Perfect example of that is years ago when I first started driving, we had a team car come in, Martin Stamatis. He actually won the championship driving one of our cars. Identical chassis from the same chassis shop. A little bit different because he's a different. Every time we ran Martin's car with the same, because obviously my car was proven, I'd won 3 championships. We put the same tune-up in Martin's car, would not work. Kicked the rods out, blew up, caught fire, everything. Took us nearly 6 or 7 race meetings. So we started reducing the compression just by the thickness of the head gaskets. With 20 thou less compression on Martin's car, it would run the same as my car. Identical. So that's all it can be.
Yeah.
So even though if the team said, here's our tune-up book, go run with it, you
Yep.
would still have to finesse it to that chassis.
Yes.
So it's like that really in any motorsports. The F1's the same. They change cars, tweak here. They all have their personalities.
Mm.
So yeah.
I see in the pits, I sound like that's all I do, but I do watch the races as well. I promise. I just don't watch the other races that are going on. I'm watching the pits instead. So when I'm walking around and watching, it seems like you're all great mates from team to team. There doesn't seem to be any niggly like you see in other sports. Is it really like that?
It is. It wasn't always like that,
Mm.
but since we've gone in the new direction of the NDRC, the camaraderie has been right there. There is 2 drivers out there that they like each other, but I don't think they'd have dinner together. I'm not one of them. But yeah, and because we all see a vision of a better cause. Drag racing before V8 supercars, when they were still doing the 2 litres, in the early 90s with the tobacco money Winfield, drag racing was like this with V8s.
Mm.
We were nearly the number 1 sport in Australia in motorsport. And V8s, obviously, they elevated themselves to another level. So ever since we've formed the NDRC, the camaraderie in the sport, the exposure we're getting now on national TV, Channel 7, 7 Plus, things like that, it's become great. We realised that instead of infighting, we've all got to head in the one direction. A bit like Speedway at the moment. They're just over there arguing with each other and, kicking each other in the shins, where now we're all heading in the one direction, all the camaraderie of the team. And the Rapasaras and Lamartines were the first ones to our trailer after we had the fire in Adelaide, offering spares to get us back out there. But as I say, just due to the fact we didn't have a seat for the car and a couple of other parts we needed, the car was started on the Sunday, but just to make sure everything was right, ready to get it ready for November. But the camaraderie there is really good. And you got to remember, I always refer, like Santo Rapasara's been racing as long as my dad.
Yeah.
I swear blind that when Noah was going 2x2, he grabbed Jim Reed and Santo Rapasara and said, "Hey, get on the ark. We need 2 drag races to survive after the flood." So they've been around the sport that long. So yeah, we all get along pretty well.
That's great.
And they're envious of our tools also.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Oh, they come over. Oh, what do you got there? So yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
Okay, so an interesting thing for me when I was thinking about this interview was, I guess, the blending between, the authenticity around blending what you do with sport, sponsorship and fundraising. It can become quite tacky at times, but I don't feel that with what's happening here between the two of you. How do you create something that is authentic rather than something that doesn't feel real?
It's personal experience, as Adam said. Mainly, I didn't really fully realize it. I always thought the Jane McGrath was for breast cancer. I didn't realize they'd branched out. So actually, this coming Thursday, which will, it's in 2-3 days' time, it'll be 8 years since my father-in-law died of pancreatic cancer. Now, we raced for his trophy, the Stansoni Cup. He was such a big, important impact on all our teams. A good friend of mine, Kim Henderson, she went through it twice. So I think it's that personal, if Adam had come to us and said, "Listen, we want to do this," Hydrant were good enough to move down the car for us. But yeah, I wouldn't have blinked an eye. I would have said, "Yeah, mate, what do you need?" So, and
Right.
as I mentioned before, fortunately for Jane McGrath Foundation, we had a fire on the weekend, so I think they raised more money than what we originally thought. But yeah, and the response at the track was excellent. So many people coming up, and one lady, tears in her eyes, she'd lost her daughter, and and another guy lost his mum, and we've had a few drag races,
Yes.
we've lost through cancer. I mean, it's such a hideous thing.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of ours had a brain tumor / brain cancer, Matt Greeley. He was very young. And he used to come out and watch us race. He watched Kurt race. He was 48.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, I mean, it's touched everyone. So
Mm.
it's not more of a imagining thing. It's just I think it's because everybody's been touched by it, as Adam Brogue mentioned before.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
For both of you, what advice would you give other business owners that are looking to create a bit of a difference and have an impact outside of their businesses? So the kind of, in your case, Phil, you're using your business and your exposure for an amazing initiative, as is Snap-on. I wonder how, thinking on a smaller scale for business owners, how they could do something similar.
Adam?
Yeah, I mean, it's about, having that social responsibility and just getting involved no matter, if you can find as a business owner or a corporation, reason to come on board to help others. I think that's what community's all about. With a big business, small business, it's about just, pausing for a moment, um, understanding that others are going through very difficult times in their life, and affected by. For us, it's that cancer focus or that breast cancer focus, So and that's why we partnered with Phil and his team to really, build the awareness. They get massive crowds at the track, as he said. The sport is certainly growing over the past few years. So we see that as a great pathway to help build awareness for breast cancer and the McGrath Foundation. So my advice is to any organisation, find something that's close to your heart. And has affected people, potentially your business or your customers or something like that, and just go out and do it. Just make
Love it.
And in the past, I've done the Ronald McDonald Charity Day, the golf day, through AF2 Plumbing. And then one year, I remember we were racing in Perth, and moustaches are very popular now, but this was like 2008. We did Movember. Like, this is when we're running the two teams.
Yeah.
So we all got on a plane, and you can remember with two teams, there was 26 people on that plane, all with handlebar. And the hostess come up to me and she goes, "Are you guys going to like a Village People convention or something?" And I'm like, "No, it's Movember." And it wasn't until I went to the bathroom at the front of the plane, I'm walking back and I'm looking, and there's all these big crew guys sitting there, and they're all got me, and I'm like, "Yeah, it doesn't look right." We raised a fair bit of money. Actually, we won some prize for the money we raised and the amount of involvement we had. We had a big moustache on the car, and yeah, so
Lots of fun.
yeah, it was pretty surreal seeing that many people. Because I don't know why, but we all had the same mo. It was ridiculous. But yeah,
Like fun to me.
but yeah, as Adam said, if you've, it's a tax deduction to donate to charities. So if anybody's out there and has, as Adam said, if you want to get involved, it doesn't have to be. We'd like it to be the Jane McGrath Foundation. Now, cancer is such a terrible thing, but you could do Movember, which was for men's health. And I've had two of my friends pass away through mental depression. But yeah, and even that, and then it only takes one visit to Ronald McDonald House to realize that, hey, it makes you appreciate more. I have a very successful business. I have a successful race team. It brings you down to earth very quick, and you see a little young sick kid there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not doing well.
Yep, it's not good. Adam, can you tell us a little bit more about where our listeners can get involved in your
Sure. So, our franchisees with their mobile stores, if they're around in dealerships, you can certainly knock on one of their doors. If you see the van parked up somewhere, they'd be happy to take a donation with the QR code that they got on either the outside of their van or on the inside. Alternatively, you can go to pinkisthecolor.com.au /fundraisers/snap-on, and you can make a donation directly online. So we'd certainly encourage any of the listeners out there to come on board, and whether big or small donation, everything's welcomed, and it's certainly appreciated by both us and the McGrath Foundation. So that's probably
a little bit helps.
Every little bit helps.
Thank you, Adam. Now, gents, I could talk to you both all day long, and I might even hold you up after I stop recording. But Phil, can you tell our listeners, where are you racing next? Where can they come and see the car?
Next meeting in Sydney, Saturday, November 8th. We've got 4 runs on that day. It's only a 1-day event. It's actually, we had a rain out, so it's the makeup round for that. But yeah, come out, say hello. You can, as I say, you can still donate continue to donate in November, as I'm aware, I think, Adam.
Yeah, great.
We actually got a lot of messages on Facebook Messenger wanting to know, so we've just referred them either to the dealers or to the Snap-on website to donate. But so November 8th, I think we do a qualifying run at 1 o'clock, then it's 4, 7 and 9:30, something like that, 'cause it's going to be hot. So there'll be, which is sort of worked out to an advantage for the spectators, because we don't do a lot of night racing anymore, because Goodyear have put restrictions on the tyres and the track temp. So if it gets too cold at night, we're not allowed to race. Goodyear have put a limit on the track temp minimum we're allowed to run on. So this being a November race and they're expecting hot weather, we will be running into the night. So you get to see the header flames, make it more exciting for the people that aren't already excited about Top Fuel.
That's incredible. You've just answered a huge question for me. All of my friends are going to be very proud for me for getting that information. We had no idea why we weren't seeing night racing anymore.
That's Goodyear have they're the only supplier of the tyre. They're worried because in America, and we're starting to do it here now, the Rapasada cars are running over 330 miles an hour regularly.
Yeah.
In America, they're over 340 miles an hour. Goodyear don't want anybody running over 340 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then we have a very prominent issue with our tyres. We call it chunking. It tears like chunks this big. So what that is on a cold night, so you've got cool air, hot track, does something to the tyre where it starts to blister the tyre because of I don't know why, only in the cold weather, it blisters the tyre, then the actual traction compound tears that chunk out. The risk you run in that is having a tyre failure, a car into the wall, or chunks of tyre into the crowd.
Yeah.
So Goodyear came out because they're basically not dictating, they're protecting their own interest. America's a land of litigation. So they come out and said to the NHRA, which is their controlling body, here's your minimum temperature. These are your pressures that you're allowed to run, but this is your minimum track temperature you're allowed to run at. So before, we used to go to the Winter Nationals and have a 9 o'clock run. Great for the tune-up because the air is so good. You can run so fast. But now, like for instance, at the Winter Nationals last June, we ran out of tyres. Rapasadas ran out of tyres. So we went through 5 sets of tyres in 5 runs.
Wow.
The other issue we have now at the moment too is the tyres are very expensive now ever since Trump got in. I don't like Trump, but with the tariffs and things like that have come into play in the export-import duties, our tyres have doubled in price. So when you're paying $2,200 per tyre and you reckon 2 every run, it adds to the cost. But to answer the main question, we have a track temp. At Sydney, it got enforced. We were supposed to go out and do another run, but there was a couple of delays. Track temp got to a certain point. They came to us and said the track temp's at this, and we had to go back to the pits.
Wow.
So,
That's amazing. Well, thank you, Phil. I'm going to have to call the end of the episode, but you gents aren't allowed to jump off just yet. I've got more questions. Thank you for listening, everybody. You can find out more details about both the Snap-on initiative and Phil and his team in the show notes. We'll make sure there's links there for everything that you require. Thank you both very much for your time today.
That's okay.
Thanks for inviting me on the show, Nicole. It was great. Good to chat. Thank you.
Thanks.
You've been listening to Tradies in Business podcast with Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business, and other cool stuff at tradiesinbusiness.com.au.